In the crimson twilight of the shattered plains, a towering centaur known as Jonathan stood atop a jagged cliff. His body, forged from raw muscle and fury, pulsed with titan strength. The air shimmered around him, a byproduct of his rare and almost mythical ability, invisibility. By his side, the venomous battle scorpion clicked its armored claws, sensing that something ancient and primal was about to unfold. Far below, through a swirl of dust and shadow, another figure approached, also named Jonathan. But this one was no noble hybrid beast. He was an orc, warped by war and driven by rage. His crimson eyes burned with the chaotic force of furious rampage, and his clenched fists radiated ethereal strength. A worm slithered loyally at his feet, disgusting, yet unnervingly sentient. The wind crackled with tension as both warriors locked eyes across the chasm. They were different in form, different in intent, yet bound by some strange twist of fate. One was a master of patience and control, hampered only by his slow recovery. The other, reckless and wild, bore the curse of emotional blindness, a lack of empathy that clouded every decision. Only one would leave this battlefield standing, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, the first sparks of their clash ignited. Thunder rumbled through the plains as the two Jonathans charged. The centaur moved like a living tempest, his hooves pounding into the cracked earth with sonic speed, each stride launching him forward like a bullet. His battle-hardened frame gleamed under the twilight, shimmering with titanium durability. Mid-gallop, he vanished, invisibility cloaking his form, leaving only a blurred outline in his wake. The orc was not fazed. He let out a roar that echoed across the battlefield, triggering his furious rampage. Power surged through him as he barreled forward with ethereal strength, fists clenched like wrecking balls. Though not as intelligent, his mid-tier mind lacked strategy. He relied on instinct and unrelenting drive. Behind him, the worm hissed and dug into the soil, sensing danger. The two collided in an explosion of force and fury. The centaur reappeared midair, bringing down a devastating punch fueled by primordial intelligence and tactical precision. The orc caught the blow with both hands, his warrior-style combat clashing with the centaur's Chuck Norris-esque fighting prowess. The impact sent shockwaves out, ripping the grass from the earth. As they separated, the centaur's battle scorpion lashed forward, spitting venom at the orc's face. But with a savage swing, the orc launched his pet worm, which latched onto the scorpion's tail in a grotesque tangle of fangs and claws. Backed into a corner, the orc activated his secret weapon, neural override. A surge of psionic force burst from his mind, attempting to short-circuit the centaur's senses. For a moment, everything went black. But a blink later, the centaur re-emerged, dazed but not down. The war had only just begun. The battlefield, now cracked and burning, echoed with the roars of beasts and warriors alike. Smoke curled through the air as the centaur Jonathan regrouped behind a boulder, blood dripping from a gash across his flank. The neural override had nearly taken him down. Nearly. But nearly wasn't enough. His breath steadied, muscles tensed, and then he vanished again, invisibility cloaking him in silence. Across the battlefield, the orc Jonathan was panting, eyes wild, mouth curled in a half-snarl. His worm was torn in half, its remains sizzling with scorpion venom. Yet the orc laughed, crazed by the furious rampage still surging through his veins. "Come out, coward," he barked into the dusk. He didn't see the battle scorpion crawl behind him. The venomous tail jabbed, once, twice, and the orc howled in pain. He spun around, swinging his axe wildly. For all his ethereal strength, his Justin Bieber-level durability made him fragile. Bruises bloomed across his chest, and his stance faltered. Suddenly, the centaur struck. Bursting from the shadows like a phantom, he rammed into the orc with devastating force, hooves kicking up stone as he spun and delivered a roundhouse punch, Chuck Norris style, into the orc's ribs. Bones cracked, the orc stumbled, and for a second he looked afraid. That's when his greatest weakness revealed itself. Lack of empathy. Bleeding, Broken, he ignored his dying pet. He ignored the calls of the villagers watching from afar. He ignored mercy, and it cost him. The centaur leapt into the air, summoned every ounce of Titan strength, and hurled his glowing egg-shaped weapon with impossible force. The impact created a fiery crater. When the dust cleared, the orc lay motionless. The crater sizzled. The battlefield was quiet. Smoke curled skyward like a funeral veil, wrapping the sky in silence. The centaur Jonathan stood tall in the center, his frame battered but unbowed. Around him, the ground bore the marks of war, claw marks, hoof prints, shattered stone, and the faint shimmer of neural energy fading into the wind. His battle scorpion limped to his side, its shell cracked, but its stinger still poised. Jonathan gave a slow nod, a silent thank you to the only ally who had endured the entire war with him. Across the scorched field, the orc Jonathan, his mirror, his rival, his mistake, lay broken, not dead but unconscious. The centaur had made a choice. He would not kill him, not today. This wasn't about vengeance or hate anymore. It was about proving whose path had forged the stronger warrior. One had fought with chaos and raw rage, the other with strategy, power, and patience. Slow recovery crept in. Jonathan knelt down, hooves trembling slightly. His Titan strength couldn't heal the cracks in his bones. His primordial mind buzzed with aftermath, but he had won, not because he was the strongest, because he was the most complete. As the sun pierced the smoke and bathed the field in golden light, Jonathan stood once more. Villagers who had hidden during the chaos emerged. Whispers followed him. The centaur, the invisible shadow, the one who conquered himself. He walked away, not as a villain or a hero, but as legend. The wheel of fate had spun, and this time it landed on Jonathan.